Good morning and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Dave Deacon, and with all of this recent warm weather, it's meant for a busy life for insects across the state, especially if you're an alfalfa weevil. SUNUP's Lyndall Stout met up with Kelly Seuhs to see how these weevils are impacting the alfalfa crop.
Yeah, it's definitely shaping up to be an interesting year. A couple weeks ago, our team went out and did some early season scouting for eggs, and we found some very low numbers actually. But since that time, and at that time the degree days were averaging about 186 or so, and we were finding minimal eggs, minimal larvae, and so the concern wasn't as great at that time. But now, in about 2 weeks' time, the degree days numbers have exploded. The temperatures extremes have gone up there, and now we're looking at degree days at about 386 statewide. And we're also getting some reports from the southern counties that they're seeing some activity in the larval activity, and so we're looking at probably spraying some applications for control probably within a week to 2 weeks.
So because of the temperature swings, the alfalfa weevils get more active earlier. Everything's
based on temperature for the weevil, and when these degree days start accumulating, they become more active, and so when we get to that magic point of 150, we start scouting. Now that we've reached to that almost 400 degree day point, it's definitely time to be out in the field scouting and looking in your particular area to see what's going on, because there's definitely some activity out there, and it's only going to get greater and greater as the season progresses.
Let's talk about some of the challenges and then the importance of getting out and scouting.
Well, some of the challenges upcoming is, since we are seeing such a early arrival of the larvae and the subsequent weevil, we're about 3 to 4 weeks ahead of schedule of what we normally see in late March, early April application of control. And so we're afraid, depending on what the weather does and what the weevil reacts to the weather in certain conditions, if we have to spray 3 to 4 weeks ahead of time and our chemicals lose their efficacy or control factor before we reach first harvest, then there's a potential we have to spray again. So we have to be diligent and be out in the field and see what we see now. If we reach threshold and make that point where we have to apply something to control, then we have to come back within keep being diligent in the field and seeing what's out there up until first harvest, and the temperature increases when they take their summer inactive period. Then we have to be diligent about what's going on after this first spray, because there's a potential that we might have to make a second application.
Let's talk about some of the resources available for growers to access. We're just kind of skimming the surface here today, but there's a current report that you helped put together.
And at the end of that report, there's a chart that lets them know, depending on the alfalfa larva numbers, the alfalfa height, and the number of degree days, it helps them have an opportunity to go to that chart and discover when the threshold has been met for spraying. And also another good resource is the Mesonet, where it actually does a good job of tracking the degree days for your particular location, and you don't have to worry about doing all the formulas and the calculations. You can just click on, find the alfalfa site portion of it, and click on the degree days, and it'll give you a cumulative degree days from January 1 for your particular location.
So you can get prepared.
That's right. Sure can.
Kelly, thanks so much for your information today. And for a link to those resources, go to sunup.okstate.edu.